Hello there, wonderful people. So, I just thought I'd share because I was speaking with a friend of mine about the new moon reading that passed through these three cards. If anybody saw them, this was the reading. There was the reversed ace and the reversed um, 10 of cups, and then this sandwiching in between this seven of wands. Now, I've looked at this seven of wands and seen. I remember maybe a couple of months back, I looked at this card, and I gave a version of the way of looking at this card according to standing up for our own sensuality, sexuality, and more passionate, even though sometimes physical, passionate self. And I recognize that inside of this, the quirkiness of this card and the suit of wands being very much related to our creativity, which is which is also what we tap into with our sexuality story. That you can read this card and you can take this whole reading in a light of sexuality too, in a light of understanding that a lot of the time we have very wrong ideas about sex and the creativity and the godlike spiritual essence behind the act of of anything sexual in our lives. We're taught, or society has taught us, that there's a little bit of a taboo, it's a little bit naughty, it's something that should be hidden, something that should be private, something that should be only in the bedroom type story. And yet we all feel it, we all want it. It's something that's not easily spoken about, it's not something that's easily brought up in intimate conversations, and yet it's there at the forefront of absolutely everything. It's in all of nature, it's in all of our lives non-stop, it's in all of the movies and everything. It's in the forefront of what we want, but we have this conditioning, this wrong idea about it not being a sacred story and it being just for egotistical pleasure, and so it should be seen as a base energy, which is wrong and bad. And and even a lot of spiritual practices and spiritual teachings will look at the sexuality story and that desire that comes with it a lot of the time as being something that you should ignore or reject or get over and get above and go beyond. And yet sexuality in itself can be a celebration, but we're not going to find that celebration. We're not going to find the unconditional love and the unconditional joy and the ecstasy inside of any form of sexual expression that we're looking for, unless we see it as a sacred act, unless we make it something holy, something that's can connect us to God, not something that separates us from God. And in order to do so, we probably need to stand up and separate ourselves from the masses and the mass view, and that, oh, we don't talk about that at the dinner table type story, and instead just bring out our honest desires and speak about our honest needs. I know that for many years I have sort of rejected maybe and not given importance to, and definitely hidden certain aspects of sexuality because of this collective communal and wrong idea that it's not a sacred story, that it's not something that is potentially connecting to spirit and that can very much uplift us, and that can very much be part of our healing journey, and that needs to be part of our healing journey, and that needs to be part of finding our passion, our creativity, and our spirituality in life. They don't have to be separate. The mundane and the pleasures of the body are part of living our lives here in this world, and we kind of need to stand up for what we are passionate about, even if that includes the expression of our own sexual nature. And we really need to celebrate who we are as physical beings and physical bodies, no, recognizing, or obviously, that this physical body is just one manifestation or one mirror version of our truth, but nevertheless one that's full of interesting experiences, as is this world, and beautiful stories and beautiful potential interactions if we can change our mind about this story. And so this changing our mind about and changing our vision about a lot of things in life, and this is just taking it on the sensual and the sexual and the more passionate creative aspect, and those using this reading to jump into those specific qualities. If we do this and we get passionate not just about our spiritual path, but everything that's involved inside of our passion itself, and everything that's involved inside of our creativity, including our sexuality, including making that sacred, making that holy, then yes, we're going to have a much better chance at turning this card around and really finding the true joy and the true happiness and the unconditional love, which doesn't really belong to the mundane. It belongs to the higher vibration of who we are, the highest spirit and the unified source of all things. And our sexuality is not separate from that. It does not separate us from this. And while a lot of religions have done a great job at maybe persuading us otherwise, this is not our truth. So let's stand up for a different truth. Let's stand up for one where we can express and share our intimacy and our creativity in a beautiful way. Have a fantastic day.